gentlemen, it's the One Health Podcast. Welcome back. I'm your host, Tori Schmelzer. I'm a fitness entrepreneur / fitness enthusiast. My goal is to share the knowledge I gather each week through meeting industry experts with as many people as I can. We do want to apologize about the little delay in episodes here. It's the busy season here in the fitness industry, so it's been a little bit difficult as far as scheduling goes. Rest assured, we have a lot of content that we're going to get out over the next few weeks, so thank you guys for being patient on that. If you guys are new to the show, each week we are going to bring on different experts in areas of health. So that could be mental health, physical health, professional health, and spiritual health. We don't claim to be experts on any of these subjects. We just know the people who are, and we interview them for the greater good. We want to say a special thanks to for everyone who's given us likes, comments, shared all of our Facebook posts, Instagram posts. We really do appreciate that. If you guys could do us a favor, leave us a review on iTunes. Go on that little purple podcast app if you're iPhone people. We're on Google Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, anywhere podcasts are found, we're there. Leave us a review. That really does help us in the rankings and helps us share all this knowledge with everyone. And then EcoGym. These guys, again, I know I've said it time and time again, but they have really been crucial to us launching this podcast over the past year here. So we do appreciate them. Make sure you guys go to ecogymworldwide.com. Right now, they are doing a $5 to join promotion. Huge sale. It's going to save you a ton of money. They're giving away free classes, some free personal training. It is one heck of a deal. So make sure you guys go check that out. They're now offering red light therapy, hyperbaric therapy. They're really known for their personal training and their classes too. So make sure you guys go check that out. Today on the show, we have Kathryn Korman from the Center for Deep Transformational Coaching. Kathryn is a certified deep transformation coach with 20 plus years of spiritual study in many different modalities. Her own experience in living the journey brings a sense of trust to each session and a deep stillness and calm, which allows the light to do the work. Did I nail that one? Was that pretty good?
Yes,
all right.
Absolutely.
I was on your website trying to figure out what to pull from your bio there, how to really describe it. So that's what I pulled, and I think that sums it up pretty well for you.
Yeah, thank you.
So thanks for being on the show. Thanks for taking some time to come in. I guess I want to get started into a little bit of background on you so I can give the listeners some context. How did you gravitate towards deep transformational coaching? What were you doing something before? What made you kind of get into this whole thing?
Well, it really ended up to be the culmination of a lifelong search and spiritual study, and not really sure where I was going to focus that. You know, coaching itself is rather new. I'm 57, so, it's new to somebody like me. Yeah. It's been in recent years. And I certainly had not known about transformational coaching. So the thing is, we really, we're on this transformational journey, whether we are aware of it or not. And, it just matters to the degree that we have that awareness. And it sort of culminated in this, what am I going to do with this? What do I do with all of this experience and study and wisdom? And, I had friends through the years telling me, you would be great at teaching or, helping others in some way. And someone mentioned coaching to me, and I started to research it. And there are many, many wonderful coaching academies and organizations that train coaches of all different sorts. But it wasn't until I found the Center for Transformational Coaching that I really found the fit for myself and my work. So just to clarify, the Center for Transformational Coaching is actually not my website, but it's where I trained and certified through. Okay. And so my bio as a certified deep transformational coach is featured on that website along with other coaches. And it's just a fabulous endeavor, and ended up to be the right fit for me.
Good. Yeah. I always like to ask what people, where did that come from? Where did that passion come from behind there? So the Center for Transformational Coaching, is this a So this is a physical location here in the Chicago area.
It's actually not.
No?
No.
Okay.
That was what was really one of the wonderful things about the training is that it's worldwide. So when I did my training, it's virtual. And in that virtual classroom were people from all over the world, from England, Australia, India, Egypt, as well as the U.S., Canada. So it was really a great connection. That's kind of the thing about when we delve into that soul aspect. It's the interconnectedness and connecting with other people on the journey and doing the work. And
that's really cool. No, that's a really cool concept, using some of this technology to bring people from all over the world together. And it had to have been cool meeting those people and getting the feeling that, oh, this is actually pretty neat. These people want to do the exact same thing that I'm doing. Did you find a lot of comfort in that?
Oh, yeah.
That's
absolutely. Cool. Absolutely. I think for a long time, again, as I said, until we kind of found these outlets, we kind of have this feeling that, we don't quite fit, we don't know where we fit. And then, like in anything, when we find others like us, or who have, walked the same journey, the same path, there is great comfort in that.
I think that's awesome. I spent the good part of my 20s worrying about, what should I be doing? What is my calling? I started listening to podcasts and self-development, books and things like that. And you start listening to these people saying that, you're made for more, you're made to do something more. And my big worry was, okay, I'm, 28 years old. I should have this figured out by now, which I found out is not, there is no time.
And that's a big pressure and a big stressor.
Yeah.
I'm finding my life's work in my 50s.
Yeah.
And I think, for many of us, our life unfolds exactly as it needs to. Mm-hmm. And we need to kind of take comfort in that. And so, for someone like me, I'm married, I had 4 kids, I stayed home with those kids, and that was my focus and my job. And in the meantime, I was doing my spiritual studies and things, but my life opened up to allowing for this when my kids were grown. For somebody else, that may be different, So I think that's one of the things that we find in this exploration and with deep coaching is this sense of it's okay. Mm-hmm. Life unfolds, and we gain a sense of trust in that instead of, this pressure. It's never too late. Mm-hmm. It's never too late.
I love that. I have so many friends who, I'll just be having a conversation with them, and a lot of them, I remember distinctly having these conversations with them about, man, we're almost 30. I remember this a couple of years ago. I'm almost 30. I should have a house by now. I should be married by now. I should have my career figured out by now. What I've learned through my personal journey is there is no timeline. You don't get to really call the shots of the timeline. I mean, kind of. I mean that as a general, general phrase. But you're right, though. The stress and the worry of looking at what everyone else is doing. We thought, why don't I have this figured out yet? Why don't I have this figured out yet? So that's good. So I guess, what is a deep transformational coach?
Sure.
Kind of frame that for those who don't know. I don't know. I tried not to read too much into this so we could genuinely discover this throughout our conversation here. Mm-hmm. But what is it exactly that you guys do?
Okay. So if we look at coaching as a sort of spectrum, and we have different types of coaches all along that spectrum, and something that maybe we would refer to as transactional coaching would be a life coach, a career coach. We go to coaches because we want to become more organized, different reasons, and they're very goal-oriented. And so, you go to that coach, you talk about what your your goal is, you set steps of how to achieve that, you're held accountable for that. And that's great. It achieves, a great purpose for people to find those things. And then there's also kind of along the spectrum where coaches incorporate kind of a whole health, wellness sense into the coaching, and it kind of gets into some of our mental emotional wellness and things like that. There are coaches who deal with specific diseases or weight loss or kind of supports. And over here on this end of the spectrum is deep coaching. And one of the differences is that deep coaching is actually very experiential in the session itself. So in a transactional coaching session, it's much more about the talking, the goal setting, what steps am I going to take, or, as I said, it may go deeper than that depending on, where on the spectrum your coaching lies. And in deep coaching, it's not about setting the goals and doing. It's about shifts in being. It's a means through which we can hear, what is my inner self saying to me? And it's not, way out there, in some esoteric la la land, separate from physicality.
Yeah.
It's actually what helps us to be in sync, with this flow. So, we have this inner self, this essential self that's a part of something greater. And we all have that self, and there's an interconnectedness. And in that, there's sort of this optimal flow of being. We've all had those moments of synchronicity where, wow, I can't believe I just met this person. This is exactly who I needed to talk to. Or this person had this message for me, or I showed up right at this time and, I got a job interview, or whatever it is. Those are actually, they stand out in our minds as being extraordinary, but they are actually part of that flow of synchronicity that is a normal flow of life when we're in tune with that inner self. And, you talked earlier about the pressures of I should have this all figured out by now. A lot of times the that sort of ego self or that other self is full of shoulds. Yeah. And should, you kind of know that's the voice up here, right? And what is my inner self saying? And there is kind of that timeline. There is that it's okay. It's unfolding exactly as it should be. It doesn't mean that we stop doing in the world. It's just that we kind of do from a different perspective and a different place, which helps bring a lot less stress, more understanding to maybe why our life, is unfolding in the way that it is. And just a greater ease and joy. And, the transformational process itself is about healing. It's about shifting perceptions. It's about finding out who we are. If someone were to say, "Who are you?" How would you answer that question, right?
Yeah.
And it's generally, I'm a trainer, I'm a teacher, I'm a mother, I'm a student. And these are kind of all labels and concepts and
external things.
External things. It's what we do in the world.
Yeah.
So there's this awesome, wonderful, limitless, highest version of ourselves that's kind of buried under these layers.
Yeah.
Of who we've kind of been taught that we are.
So how do you start that process? So let's say I'm a new person, I'm coming to you and I'm saying, Kathryn, I need help. I know that I'm meant for something greater here. I can't figure this out. I can't read the signs, listen to my inner self. How do you start to approach that with someone?
Well, so first of all, in a session, it's very much about kind of setting up that energetic space. And it really is something that you can feel. Some people have had experience with energy healing, or even, you can get a sense of, you walk into a place and you can it feels good or it doesn't feel good. And those are kind of all the ways that we sense into energy. And so in the transactional coaching space, we really take a moment to, take a few deep breaths, kind of invite in that intention of allowing for what my inner self wants to tell me, for what wants to happen. I know people very often experience a great sense of calm and peace because it's a space where you can really just let go. Because what you said was very key. I can't hear what I'm supposed to do. My mind is going, I'm thinking, I can't figure it out. So it's kind of dropping down from that space, and just taking a few very deep breaths and focusing kind of out of that mind space. And just, inviting in that, what does myself, what does my inner self, my soul, have to say? And something invariably comes up, thoughts, feelings or sensations, in the body. Sometimes it's healing, sometimes it's letting go, sometimes it's an awareness that we have about ourselves that we didn't have before. And sometimes it's just being able to know what that feels like again, to just stop and breathe and connect.
Yeah. That's, man, listening to you describe this, and even me personally, right now, for example, we're in the busy season in the fitness industry. Mm-hmm. New Year's resolutions, people doing this, trying to get their health turned around. And for me, sometimes I've tried meditation before. Mm-hmm. I've used an app called Headspace, which I think does a really good job of coaching people through that. Mm-hmm. I think it's so important in the chaos of our everyday lives. I don't have children yet. I can't even imagine, like you had, having 4 children running around the house, trying to keep your life organized. It's gotta be healthy and healing to just be able to stop everything that's going on. You still have those thoughts that come and go, but to be able to kind of put that on pause for a second and decompress and get into a different level of thinking. But that's got to be very difficult for people. Is this something that takes a lot of sessions with you? Is this, like, as far as a timeline goes, are we looking at weeks, months, years for people to really get into this? To really transform, I should say.
It really depends, because most people that come for transformational coaching have some sense of that inner self and who am I and what am I meant to do, and they're searching for something deeper. What I'm finding quite often so far is that it takes a few sessions. It's the journey is never ending. So it's not like we finally just arrive and we're done. That doesn't mean you need coaching your whole life. Okay. But it's an understanding that it's an ongoing journey of expansion and growing. And, I used to say, I kind of had like this laundry anxiety, living in the house and my to-do list. Yeah. It created so much anxiety. And while it was a great sense of accomplishment to keep checking things off my list and to get the laundry done, as soon as somebody put something back in there, I'd be like, oh, are you kidding me? Like, I just finished that. But that's the journey, that's life. And so we start to view it as a journey and as a series of moments. And yes, it may take some time it's really about understanding what is my optimal flow. And understanding when that voice is coming in that's saying, I should. Typically if there's a should, it's all coming from up here. Mm-hmm. And we make so many decisions from that place. It's really not an answerable question. It depends on the individual. It's not something that someone has to do their whole life, or it may be something that someone comes and does a certain number of sessions, and then they kind of go on. And that may be it, or they may find at a different juncture in life that they want to come back, and because there's a new level or a new something. So
I like how you described it as, personal development coaches, stuff like that. It's very transactional.
Mm-hmm.
You do A, you get this, and then there's an end outcome, and
Mm-hmm.
that seems to be it. Whereas this is more, you're learning as you go. You're experiencing that journey as you go. So I like how you said that. It's hard for me to like not relate what you do to personal development coaches like that you see
Mm-hmm.
online or on TV or all the time. It's
Mm-hmm.
very different. So I like that you guys are like that. That's really cool. So how is this? You talked a little bit about energy and
Mm-hmm.
spirituality and stuff like this. How is this kind of different from like, I don't know, I want to say like organized religion or using religion as therapy for people?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the spiritual aspect of that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, I guess, are you dealing with energies with people? Is there tactics you're using to kind of tap into that inner energy? Kind of describe that a little bit.
It is. The great thing about connecting with soul, spirit, light, creator, it's existent in unity, sort of without separation. It's where we are connected. So in transformational coaching, there's no agenda in terms of it being associated with a particular path, a particular religion, a particular...
Okay.
It is the place where we're all connected. Now, having said that, we all have different paths or things that resonate with us. And that's good. That's part of who we are. That's part of how we find who we are. But tapping into that essential self and that greater something that connects all of us, that's really where the unifying factor is. And so, when we kind of talk about, creating a better world, it all begins with us. So when we kind of tap into that space, we can understand and tap into what unites us. So, there are no agendas. It is, if it becomes clear to me that maybe somebody relates to something in a particular way, maybe that's a parameter through which we can talk about it, but it would come from that person, not from me.
Okay. I love that because it's all, so it's not necessarily your, religious beliefs. This is an energy. This is a light. I saw one interesting thing on your website, and I wrote this down because I wanted you to kind of dive into it a bit more. It talked about dropping below the thinking mind and into the realm of our innermost intelligence, the intelligence of the heart center and the life force that is alive within all of us. When you say heart center, what are you guys referring to?
So that I'm sure was written by Leon, who is the one who runs the program. Wonderful teacher and coach. So we have different levels of existence and being, and different energy centers in the body, and we have sort of mental bodies and emotional bodies, and that sort of essential self connection and interconnectedness with others takes place at that heart center level. Okay. Where we kind of drop out of that thinking mind, and it really is an energy that we can tap into, and it does have its own intelligence. And again, as I said before, that's where the synchronicity and the flow comes in, and where we get clarity. Sometimes we have these moments of some sort of intuitive thought. We didn't think the thought in some logical, rational progression, but we had this thought, and that's something that comes from self and the light and the soul. That's an intuitional thought, that sort of comes from that other place.
Those thoughts that just pop in your head, oh wow, that was really deep, or oh wow, that was a really good idea. Where did that just come from? those type of thoughts. Okay. Yeah, I've had that before, and I've been like,
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about this, and all of a sudden this came from somewhere, and it was just like a really powerful moment.
Yes.
You know, I've experienced that too. So
Yeah.
that's interesting that you touched on that.
Mm-hmm.
Is this type of coaching for everyone, or is there a certain, I guess you could say, description of an individual that this would really, really work for?
It's not for everyone. It would really resonate with you or not. You know, again, as we talked about, if someone wants a specific sort of goal-oriented outcome, and you know, there are many wonderful coaches in all of those areas that can help in various areas of life. The transformational coaching client does have that sense of sort of asking those deeper questions, and you know, who am I? What is my purpose? What am I here for? There's something else. It's that sense of you know, something's missing. I have all these things, I'm doing all these things, but there's something else. Or you know, maybe they have those moments, you know, where they're in tune with their intuition, and so this is just kind of furthering and supporting them along in their journey.
Okay. You talked about energy with people. Sorry, I'm kind of bouncing back because this thought just popped into my head here. Are you a firm believer that I can feed off of your energy, like genuinely, and my mood can change by, you know, what someone else is doing? I just feel like I come across people in my industry. I meet different people every day as they walk through the door. And I get some people that are just like a bright, shining light in their personality. And I feel like when they're around me and our staff, all of our staff's levels step up a little bit. And I find that really, really interesting. And you kind of got into that a little bit a couple minutes ago.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think in any kind of spiritual study, what we learn is really everything is energy. And we each individually have an energy field that very much is created through our thoughts and emotions. So if we are really projecting a lot of negativity, anger, sadness, irritability, those energies can be felt. You know, it's like I think I had mentioned a while back. You can walk into a place and you either can get this really good feeling about it, or you're kind of turned off by it, and that is sensing the energy. You know, we do leave sort of this energy footprint. You know, and so what we do when we learn to tune into ourselves is we essentially also become responsible for our own energy field. And how we do affect others and the world around us from that.
Okay. Yeah, so you're able to tap into controlling it a little bit better, would you say? Like, let's say I'm one of those people and I project a negative energy and I come to you guys and I want to be a transformational coach. Is it more, okay, we're going to help teach you some tactics to kind of shift that energy? Or, well,
I think yes and no. I think if anyone is looking to be a transformational coach, they have an awareness of being on a transformational path and journey, and in that comes a sense of kind of doing a certain amount of, I'm going to call it work, as a personal responsibility. You know, we kind of work on ourselves. It's like when you go to the gym, you work on your body. We also work on ourselves, our attitudes, our values, our beliefs. You know, we find where we limit ourselves because we carry all sorts of kind of false self-concepts that we've picked up. You know, someone in our life made a comment and somehow we internalized that in a negative way, and we came to believe this about ourselves. So part of the work of the transformational journey is that we come to realize where some of these come from, or that this isn't really us. This is a false self-concept. This is a false perception. Maybe, you know, we had an event that really traumatized us. And so we're kind of closed off. And so also as a part of the transformational journey, there's a healing and an opening up. So I don't know if controlling is the right word. I think it's sort of a personal responsibility.
Okay.
But there's also the desire. The desire is there to be the best person that I can be. The desire is there to find out who I am. The desire to kind of move beyond these things that limit me.
That's really cool. I love that. A couple pieces of advice that you would want to share with the listeners out there. Are there things that I can be doing on a daily basis to maybe tap into some of this self-awareness, the who am I, the what am I here for type thing? Are there a couple practical tactics that I can be doing every day?
Sure. And this is a great time of year for that too. As we set the goals for physical health, it's kind of making the commitment, first of all, that we want to develop a nurturing of our spiritual life and self and soul. One of the greatest things is having an awareness. When you, like I said, when you have those awarenesses of the synchronicities and the intuitions, the more we start to pay attention to that, the more we find it happening. Okay. So that's one thing is where we put our focus and intention. The other thing is finding what resonates with you. When we talked about people on different paths, somebody may resonate to a kind of an Eastern meditative modality. Somebody else may find their peace in nature. Somebody else may do yoga. Somebody else, there are many. I would say find something that resonates, that nurtures your self, your soul, and start with that. There are books. A lot of times it's intuitive. You kind of go and you pick that book up off the shelf, and wow, it's got a message for you. Yeah. So it's setting the intention and paying attention and kind of just start to make that commitment to nurture that part of yourself.
And it might be a little bit of a journey to find out what that is, what you can relate to. There's so many people trying so many different ways to accomplish what you're saying. So don't give up after the first one if you don't find it.
It's a journey of finding. I mean, that's what's so amazing about it, is that, we are this limitless self. And, how are you ever done with being limited, with being unlimited, right? Yeah. It's just always growing and expanding and learning about ourselves. And then we can be that presence. When you talk about people with that uplifting energy, we choose to be that in the world, which uplifts others in our environment. And
yes. No, that's really well said. Well, I want to commend you on the work that you're doing to get people to a better place. I think what you're doing is a really different approach than what a lot of personal development coaches, go through. I just think it's bringing more good into the world and making people see, all they see on TV in the news is all the bad things, right? Because that's what gets the attention. Yeah. So I think it's really, really important for you guys to keep doing the work that you're doing for people and pushing them forward and getting them to that best self. I always talk about, people taking care of, inner me first before I walk through the door to go get physical me taken care of too, because I think it's almost more important. So yeah, I want to commend you and thank you for doing that to help change people. Let's keep up the great work.
Thank you.
If people want to know more about you, find out more about you, where should they go to do that?
Well, I do have a Facebook page that's just under my name, Kathryn Korman. But also you can contact me by email. Okay. And I think you have my email there. Yes, I will actually tag that. Okay. Actually, if you want to, you can share that if you want to. Unless you don't want to get a bunch of emails. No. It's related to the spelling of my name, so it's Kathryn.Korman036@gmail.com. Okay. There it is. I'll make sure that when we post this episode, I'll make sure that I put the correct spelling for her name in there, so you guys will know that. But
Yeah, thanks again for being on.
Thank you for having me.
I think this is really cool that we got to know what you do.
Yeah.
Again, I want to give a special shout out to EcoGym. Make sure you guys, again, ecogymworldwide.com, go check them out. They are doing that $5 to join promotion. They're running classes and personal training. So make sure you guys go check that out. Until next week, thanks a lot for joining us, guys. Have a good one.